What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the pilot episode of the Teddy and JD podcast. My name is Jason DeRusso, and I'm here with Teddy Gibson. We decided to make a podcast because we both love talking basketball, watching basketball, eat, sleep, breathe basketball, and yeah,
We're gonna see if we can make this for an interesting show right here. We're gonna kind of fumble around our sports and talk about what we do.
for sure. So yeah, Teddy and I both played basketball our whole lives. I've been a professional for 14 years. Went to the University of Nebraska. Um, Played for Donar for most of that time. Played with Teddy for what, 2.5 seasons, 2 seasons, something like that, or
Season and a half.
season and a half. Okay.
Almost 2 years.
Won a championship together. Won a cup. Had some memorable moments there. I started my career after I left the University of Nebraska in 2006 in Ludwigsburg in the BBL. That's the top league in Germany. Played there for 2 seasons. Then I moved to Iceland. Played for a great club in KR. Had a great experience up there. Also won a championship. Some lasting friendships up there with some great players. And then I came to Groningen. Did a 5-year stint here with, at that time, the Gastera Flames. Won 2 championships and I believe 2 cups, I think.
It's been that long.
Yeah, bro. You know how that go, man. The years start running together. Yeah. Then went to Wurzburg. Played in Wurzburg for a coach that we both played for, Doug Spradley. We moved them back to the BBL. That was in Pro A. And then I came back to Groningen, been here since 2014, so my 5th consecutive year, so my 10th year overall in Donar. And in that time span, won another 3 championships and I believe 2 cups and a Super Cup, something like that. And yeah, Teddy, you want to tell us about your career?
Once you get these old years do start running together, so we don't call out the exact details of our career. Don't hold that against us.
That's a fact.
I'm gonna be real. I'm old though. You know what I mean? But let me start by introducing myself again. I'm formerly known as Segario, but most people call me Teddy. I did 4 years at Arkansas, the University of Arkansas, where I played for Nolan Richardson. A lot of people may know him. 40 Minutes of Hell. That's what most people know it for. Professionally, my first 3 years I played in Amsterdam. We had really good teams when I played there my first 3 years.
Great teams.
So the first 3 I was there. Then after 3 years in Amsterdam, I went to Paderborn for a year where I played for Doug Spradley. It was the first year Paderborn played in the BBL. And we had a solid season. Wasn't bad. I was the oldest guy on the team at that time. I was just 25. And I was the vet, so.
And we played against each other. I remember seeing him. I was like, young Teddy he was always nice, but he was cold in Paderborn. That's for sure.
Yeah, and back then, the game was a little different than it is now. But we're gonna get into that a little later. But after my year at Paderborn, I came back to Holland, which I went back to Amsterdam, same club. And I played 2 years. I played 2 years and 2 more years in Amsterdam where we won the title 2 years in a row. We had successful seasons, which actually those years were some of the best teams I ever played on. We had some of the best clubs I ever played for. After that, it was a whirlwind. I moved around quite a bit after that. After my 2 years in Amsterdam, I went to France. I played in Pau Artiste. Great city, great club. Played there for 2.5 years, which was amazing. And after that, man, it get blurry after that. After that, I went back to Germany where I played for Bamberg for almost I'm gonna say like 7.5, 8 months.
You played for Coach Fleming there, right?
Yeah,
he's assistant in the league now, right?
I played for Fleming. Yeah. Absolutely. I got a good story about Amsterdam too, about when I played with Kenny Atkinson, the head coach
of the Nets.
I played with him for about a good 2 weeks, before he left the team. But yeah, back to my storyline. When I left France, then I went to Bosnia. I was in Bosnia for a
Or when
season.
you left Germany?
No, I went. Yeah, when I left Germany. After I left Bamberg, I went to Bosnia for 2 seasons. Actually, a season and a half. I went there for a full season. Then the next year, I went there maybe about 6.5 months, where I won the title 2 years in a row there too. And at the end of my second stint in Bosnia, I left Bosnia to go back to France. So the end of the season, the last 2 3 months, I left Bosnia and went to Le Havre to finish the season in Le Havre, and then from there, I went the next season. I went to Bologna, which is in France, and I played a full season there. And
Is that
which
where you played with Worthy De
yeah,
Jong?
yeah,
For those
and
of you who don't know, Worthy De Jong, great player out of Amsterdam, plays for Leiden. He played with him there.
yeah, one of my good friends. We played together in France. His first year abroad, we had a decent season, not the greatest season, but also not the worst season either. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, from that point on, yeah, kind of brought me back here, back to Holland, where I played for Donor for 2 years. So, Jason already gave the numbers on that, and that brings us to where we are now.
Exactly. So, out of all that time, what would you say? And this is probably gonna be really hard. I think I know the answer to this. But what would you say was the best team you played on? My guess it would be one of the Amsterdam teams because I was hearing about y'all my first couple years when I was in Ludersburg because y'all was making some noise internationally. But what would you say? Obviously, you.
It's kind of tough because we did have a lot of talent in Amsterdam. Like the last 2 years in Amsterdam, we were really deep. Like we were 10 deep, where our second five was just as good as our first five.
Yeah.
So when you got that kind of depth, it does make for a good team. But the team I played for when I was in Bamberg was really good too. Like we had great chemistry on the court, which also brings me to the team that I played with my first year when we were here.
Oh yeah,
That was
that team was
like,
special. Brandon.
we were deep and we had great chemistry.
Yeah,
So
we did. That was.
between the four,
I mentioned Brandon. That's Brandon Curry. That was our point guard at the time. Great player, great dude. But up and down that roster, we had great players and high IQ players, and we we dominated.
I mean, but
There ain't no other
that's
way to
what.
put it. We dominated it around that time. That was a lot of fun.
And we when we talk about that, we always talk about the chemistry we had. So like when you think about those teams, like it's hard to choose one, but chemistry wise, I honestly I ain't talking about just talent. Talent wise, I would probably say Amsterdam,
Hmm.
and we won a lot of those games. Because we had more talent. We were
Yeah,
just from top to bottom.
right.
Well, here when I play for Donut, I think far as chemistry goes, between that and playing in Bamberg, because we had a lot of vets in Bamberg too. So
Yeah,
all the guys were professional. We hung out a lot. We we smashed out a lot of problems, which kind of when you got vet players that do that, it kind of makes it a lot easier for the coach. So I think that between Bamberg and the team, my first year in Dona, those were probably the best teams. But from a standpoint of talent, the teams in Amsterdam was
right. Probably the best of you.
yeah.
The one thing too, to kind of piggyback off what you said about our team, and I've been fortunate enough to play on some great teams in my 14 years, but particularly with our team and a couple other teams I played with while I've been with Donar, great chemistry, but also I think we played the right way, sharing the ball, uh, playing with the pass and mixing it with the talent we had is what I think made us so great. We had, like I said, high IQ individuals. Um, my best team, I've gone over this in my head a lot because
Yeah, I was just about to
I
ask
mean,
you
you
that.
can. I think I could put like there's about 4 or 5 seasons where any one of those teams for me could have took that place. Like my first year in Germany, I wasn't like a huge. I played like 16, 17 minutes. I was a rookie. I was learning a lot from the vets on my team. I had guys like Jerry Green. Probably people out there probably don't know who that is, but great point guard at the time. I played with Jaquel Foster, who was also a rookie at the time, but he went to Ohio State. Great player, ended up being rookie of the year. But my vet was Miljan Goljevic, and he was a former EuroLeague guy. Great shooter. Put up big numbers, but taught me a lot. But that team, we finished second in the BBL and went to the semis, which was a huge accomplishment for that club. So that's up there. Um, my team in Iceland, like I said, was very good. We had some unbelievable talent that probably shouldn't have been there. Jon Arnor Stephenson uh, was a EuroLeague player for years, but he wanted to come home, so I was fortunate enough to get on a team with him, and we had some fun. We played the game the right way, won a lot of games, won a chip. And my first year in Groningen was unbelievable. Lost 3 games, and that team, of all the teams I played on, that team clicked the fastest. Like I've never seen that before. Just a collection of guys that was in sync right away from day one. So
Yeah.
to me, and we ended up winning the championship. And the next year we played so well, got invited to play EuroLeague qualifications, which in Holland was at the time was a pretty big deal. We ended up playing Euro Cup, and then I would say what was it? I think it was 2014, 15. It was me, Lance Jeter, Ross Beckering, God, and Chase Feeler, who is playing now in Greece Euro Cup. That was another team that did some unbelievable things. And the next year, Ross retired, but we still had the core of me, Chase, and obviously Lance, who was a great point guard at Donar for a long time. Uh, we won 3 prizes, and the way we won it was pretty amazing. But that team was really special with the chemistry and the ball movement, and just the way we played was a lot of fun to play on. And then obviously our team. So out of those, it's tough to pick from.
Hard to choose
It's
one
hard to
team.
choose, bro. It's hard to choose. But the common denominator was I thought we played the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
And
think that's the most important thing when trying to build a winner. But I was fortunate enough to get to play on so many teams that were like that.
yeah, I mean, like overall, I think like to have winning basketball, when you said that one team mm, clicked and got that chemistry right away. I mean, that's the hardest thing to build coming into a season. The faster you can develop that as a
Exactly.
team, that's going to determine the success of the
I
team
agree.
pretty much.
I agree. I agree. So yeah, now that you, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know a little bit about us and our careers, we want to move into another topic. We want to discuss the Dutch League this year. I'm currently still playing. Um, Teddy is not playing the Dutch League, but we talk all the time. This year is very interesting in my opinion. Um, I think that it's more wide open who's gonna win it. And I thought last year too, although Zwolle last year was kind of the front runner the whole way. Like I think it's pretty wide open who could possibly win the chip this year. Uh, and again, I think Zwolle has been the most consistent, clear cut best team so far. But I don't know. What do you think? Like I think there's a
I,
couple teams that potentially could come. They keep gelling, come down the wire, have a legitimate shot, and I think that makes for an exciting league for the fans and people that actually watch our league. And what do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think like the last what 2 or 3 years, you pretty much had a good idea of how the league was going to turn out. Like who
Especially
you,
when we were
I mean,
playing, you know what I mean? Like,
from an assumption, from a standpoint of players and coaches and viewers, you could pretty much see the different levels of from one team to the next.
yeah,
So I think this year, I agree. I think it's a little bit more open to a lot of teams still rounding out the league like
Mm-hmm.
from top to bottom. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't think I think other than Zola, the other three or four teams are still really finding the chemistry and finding themselves and how they want to play. Like Zola is already playing the type of basketball that they normally play,
Mm.
and like you said, they've been pretty consistent in their play. But the rest
Agreed.
of the teams between Denbosch and you guys and who I'm leaving, Leiden, I still think all of those teams have room to improve.
Right.
So that's from a standpoint of a fan, I think that that's something that gives them something they can look forward to. Because between those three, you don't really have a good idea of who's going to be able to find that balance between now and when the
Exactly.
playoffs start.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the top four right now, forgive it's January 5th, by the way. Side note, we're going to try to get this uploaded as fast as possible. But as of now, as of the time of recording, I think the top four in our league are standings wise. Obviously, Zwol's number one. I believe it's either us or Den Bosch two, Leiden three, and Feyenoord four. But that may have changed. I have to look at the standings. But Feyenoord started off great. They beat us
Yeah, I was
bad.
about to say
I
that.
mean, anytime you get Tone as a head coach, like I feel like you're getting more serious about winning with his track record. And I like what Feyenoord's trying to do down there, trying to get themselves better. But they've hit a recent losing streak. But they could easily get that turnaround. But like Teddy said, you know, Leiden's always going to be there. I mentioned Worthy de Jong earlier. Guy's been a staple in Leiden for a long time. Put up great numbers, and his team's always a threat. But to me, um, I will get to Donar later. I play for Donar, but Den Bosch is really interesting because I think they're starting to come into form, but they're also getting Hank Norell,
Yeah.
and
Question is though, when though? Like
yeah,
like
that's true.
between now
Go
and
ahead.
and that's what I mean. Like teams rounding out. Like
Right.
how fast can they get him to the team and
Get that
build that
chemistry.
chemistry they
Exactly.
need
That's always
to
a question.
because it ain't like okay, like you said, some clubs you got a switch, they can hit it
Yep.
and boom, they can go from being one team to the next based off one player.
Yeah.
And Hank is really experienced, which when I was in Amsterdam a long time ago, Hank was I don't know if it was my first stint. I think he was like 16 and he was playing on the youth team at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So now he's a seasoned player who, you
Played
know,
in big
yeah,
leagues. A lot of
and
accolades. Great player.
yeah, one of the probably gonna go down as one of the greats that's played in Holland.
For
So
sure.
for
For
to
sure.
have him as a guy who's about to come to the team, I think it'll definitely help him. It's just a matter of how fast can they
Integrate him.
gel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. I agree. And then coming to us, I say Donar. Um, yeah, I think we have a ton of talent. Like guys that you know they can go. Dante Thomas, beast in my opinion. He's been probably the most consistent guy we've had all year. Thomas Kunis, he's the type of guy that you need for the basis of a team. He does a lot of stuff. Some gets noticed, some doesn't get noticed. Great passer, but he's an important part. Carrington Love's one of the most talented point guards in my opinion in our league, and Matt Williams is one of the best shooters I've ever played with. Um, and I think we got a pretty deep bench, and it's kind of the addition of Drew Smith now, which the suspension he got is complete garbage, but that's just a
Oh,
that's just a
now
byproduct of
here he
the
goes
Dutch
with the
league.
officials.
I ain't gonna talk about this, but that was some garbage. But anybody that watch our league knows that was some garbage. But I think we got a bench, good solid bench. We got a lot of depth. It's just now a question of like kind of what Teddy said, putting
Yeah.
it all together.
How's the chemistry?
Yeah, the chemistry's there. It's just we got a bunch of good guys. We practice well. We want to play together. So now it's just a question of putting it all together, playing the right way consistently, and yeah, I'm coming back from injury, so I'm looking forward to joining the guys because I've been liking what I'm seeing, and as an older player, I want all my young guys that I play with to have success. So I'm hoping I could come back and just help out wherever I can. But between, like I said, I think Zwolle right now is the clear cut favorite from what they've shown, and they've got
I mean, as they should be. They
right.
won title last year, so
They did, and
now it's got to be taken. You
right,
know,
and they got a lot of guys back. And the thing about Zwolle that I like a lot is I feel like a culture has been established there, and I feel like they have a bunch of guys. There's some talent, obviously, but they have a bunch of guys that are in your terms stars in their role, meaning they accept their role and they play it, and they understand that that role is a part of the overall picture of winning. And I think I've never obviously been inside their locker room or their practice or anything, but the product that you see on the floor looks like, you know, it's encouraged by the coach or whatever. It's like you play your role, don't try to
yeah.
step outside of that, and the number one goal here is to win. And it took a long time for them to build that, but they got it now. So it's like you said, something they have to take it. But I think with so much time left, it's going to be a really interesting season. And me playing in it, the player, obviously, I'm trying to come out and win with my guys, but the fan in me and the fan I see it, I think it's if you're a basketball fan of the Dutch league right now, it's uh it's pretty exciting to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it makes for an interesting race. Not only that, you know, we talking about the top clubs now, but we also got the bottom teams who are trying to improve. But it's a league that's kind of focused on youth right now. So a lot of the teams that are on the bottom are just grooming young guys that are from Holland and then just trying to help them become better players to kind of strengthen the league. So that kind of explains the drop off from the top teams to the bottom teams.
Agreed.
But unfortunately, this league ain't as strong as it used to be.
That's
With
true.
talent, just because of the economy when it dropped, just a lot of teams
Exactly.
lost a lot of sponsors. So
Exactly.
the league is still growing and building, and I think that's the reason that a lot of teams are taking notice of trying to build the young guys up so that they can grow and try to
Yeah.
help improve the league.
And I think if you're a young player in Holland, you gotta try to find the right situation where you're allowed to grow, because it is tough at some of the more established clubs. Because the only way to get better is getting time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And sometimes that's not possible at bigger clubs. So it is sad though, because I feel like Holland is a rather affluent country, meaning there is um, a lot of big businesses, potential sponsors, but you know for whatever reason basketball just hasn't caught
Booming.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
not
ain't booming
and
like
like
that.
other countries I'm seeing, Germany, there's a lot of investment in it, France, and I feel like there is a talent pool here. Maybe the player development side needs a lot of work here. Not maybe, I think it does, from what I've seen. Um, but uh, I think there's a lot of potential in Holland. I played here 10 years. You played here a number of years. Um, so yeah, I hope eventually my time is whenever it's done. But I'm probably closer to the end than I am the beginning. You know what I mean?
I would think
you know,
so.
you know what I'm saying. So I hope at some point there's a group of people or a governing body or somebody that can help take it to the next step, take it to the next level, I should say, because I think there's a lot of potential for Dutch basketball. And yeah, we'll see. And going back to this season, like I said, I'm still playing, so I know everybody in my locker room and Donar, we feel like we got as good a chance as anybody. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. And so, yeah, we'll see. But now, let's transition to a topic very dear and near to Teddy and our heart, the NBA. All right, we're avid NBA watchers. I know I got league pass. I know he got league pass. And I can't tell you how many times I called this dude up or WhatsApp. You see this game? You see such and so last night? You see who you think? This, and that. So To start it off, oh, go ahead. What's your
Most of the time on when we play together on long road trips, this is pretty much all we did.
yeah,
We at the back of the bus arguing about MVP candidates and top teams and standings and all that, and
history,
and what we thought about such and such. So
yeah,
for us, it's just like having a natural, normal conversation, just
facts,
kind of like throwing things around on what we
facts.
feel like gonna happen with the NBA.
Yeah. And since this is the pilot and you guys have never heard us talk about the NBA, first thing, January 5th, we've seen about a quarter of the season now, a little over, whatever it is, your prediction to win it all. Because this is the most wide open, similar to Dutch. This is the most wide open the league been in a minute. With the Warriors dynasty and you had Bron in Cleveland, it was all 4 straight years, Cleveland, Golden State, but everybody knew it was probably going to be Golden State with the talent they had. So this year is exciting. Who you think? Who you think? I mean,
I gotta put one team though. Like we going one team or we narrowing it down one by like. Let's say we
do
run
do
the.
do your top three. No top. Yeah, do top three. Do your top three teams.
All right.
There's 30 teams. Top
My
three is
top
cool.
three teams. I'm gonna go. It's tough. I'm gonna go with the Clippers,
Obviously, that's mine too.
the Lakers, and then I'm gonna go out on a limb. I know he gonna be surprised when I say this, and I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
Man, that ain't no surprise, bro. The Bucks.
To win it all?
To me, it ain't. I
Oh,
don't know. Like
okay.
I'm right there with you. Those are my three too. Really no specific order. Um, you know, what Giannis is doing, the Greek freak. I ain't gonna attempt to say his last name. I always butcher it. I mean, this man. I'm gonna throw his stats out here right now. Just the normal stats. Only one advanced stat. This man right now is averaging 30.4, 13 rebounds, 5.6 assists on 55.6% shooting from the field. And the thing that's the most impressive about him, everybody's talking about on every talk show, he's a willing 3-point shooter, and he's a serviceable 3-point shooter now.
Definitely gotten better.
33.1, and I think he's at like, 4 or 5 attempts a game. Don't quote me on that, but it's in that neighborhood. The one glaring drop off though this year for him is at the free throw line. He's at just under 60%. His effective field goal percentage is 59.8, which is very, very good. And the PER, ladies and gentlemen, player efficiency rating, that's just in a nutshell for those that may not know. It's a stat that was came up with a few years back. Basically, it takes everything you do good on the court and it subtracts everything you do bad on the court, and then you get like an output. And it used to be in a few years ago, if you had anything over 30, that you're talking about one of the best ever. This dude is at 33.6, but he is right now, I think, one of 3 or 4 players in the league who are over 30 PER. So that kind of shows you where we're at. But the Bucks have the best record in the league. They play on both sides of the ball. They surrounded them with shooting. I think they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs.
I totally agree. I mean, also because of the experience they gained last year from going so deep in the playoffs. So you put that with, them bringing everybody back.
Right.
The chemistry, they chemistry really just transferred between last year and this year. They didn't really skip a beat. So
Right.
you can see the growth in their team from last year to this year.
Absolutely.
And they were good. They were really good at this time last year.
Yeah, they were.
So now, for them to go up a level, I mean, I feel like they right where they need to be in order to.
I agree. And it's like you said, I think the biggest factor in all of this is the experience that not only the team gained, but Giannis himself. Like he figured out, he ran into the wall that is Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors, and figured out there's a couple of holes in his game that he's probably going to need in a series. And it looks like he came back and worked on him. He worked on. I think every NBA player works on this, but he's actually did it on the court. And then you have a guy like on the flip side of that, Ben Simmons, who I don't know about you, but I was watching all these videos of the dude in the summer. Everybody talking about it all over. Shooting threes, fadeaways,
Yeah,
2 dribble pull-ups. And he won't even shoot a 3.
Listen, though, this is different because you know what? In Giannis, if you think about it from the time that Giannis when he first started working on his 3 point shot till now, you didn't actually see it start translating to the court until 2 or 3 or 4 years later. So
Exactly.
I think Ben Simmons, he's working on it. He just, he don't have the confidence yet to go out and just put it up because he's not even really taking them. So
He
it's
won't
hard
take
to
him.
what I'm saying. It's hard to say whether or not he can make them or not if he's
But
not taking.
but how? All right, you see him in the summer.
He was making them in the summer
But I'm
though.
saying you can't. You won't even attempt one.
He made how many he attempted? I think he probably
I,
got up like about 6 this year.
yeah, but that's come on, man. Like his own coach came out and said he wants to just attempt one, bro.
Man, that
You
ain't
got
it.
the backing from her. He made 1 3 in preseason, and the crowd erupted like they won the chip.
Yeah, but I'm saying
That's a
that's
damn
the.
shame.
I think. I think that ain't a switch that a player can just hit though, because that ain't been his game from day
It
one.
ain't been his game, but
So
he's
so
his fourth year in the league, fourth year in the league, something
what
like
is his
that.
third? Like
We're
you
getting
kind
off
of
topic here, but this is just
you
amazing to me. I
you
can't.
get you talk what? Are we counting the year that he set out?
Well, you count that, yeah. That's another year of development. I mean, he was getting his body right, but dang, he was around NBA player. Yeah, count it. It wasn't. It didn't count in rookie of the year, but I
I think
mean,
that he got like another 2 years before he actually used before we start seeing it translate over to the court that
man,
he's a willing 3 point shooter. Like I said, you didn't really see it last year. Giannis shot more. Greek Freak shot more threes last year, and then coming into this year, you can see he's a lot more confident. But I think that came with him becoming more of a veteran, him having his own team
agreed,
and gaining that confidence, knowing
agreed.
like I can take this shot where Ben Simmons. I'm not saying that it's not his team, but it ain't clear
It ain't
cut.
his team.
I'm that what I'm saying.
Joel
So
Embiid,
so what I'm
but
saying is he don't have that
nah,
same type of freedom that Greek Freak has to come down and take those type of shots
that's
because they
true.
got a low post presence like Embiid.
That's true.
So in
Which
his
on top of that, so because I want to wrap this up, and get to our other picks to win it, but the Sixers gave this man 170 million dollars. 170 million.
what are you saying?
I'm saying there's got to
What?
be a little bit of buyer's remorse there because I don't see how this team fits. I don't see
Oh yeah,
there ain't enough shooting around and like and if Simmons ain't gonna open the floor, he ain't gonna be no threat in a playoff series. He can't just get this pushing and like jumping in the air and making passes. Great, but
yeah.
that's not going in my opinion get them over the hump.
I agree. I
So
agree because, like you said, they with Embiid clogging up the lane a little bit because
as he
yeah,
should,
yeah, because he's dominant.
he's great.
But on the other hand, we have one of the most prolific, dynamic, physical specimens to attack the basket,
Yeah,
other than
bro,
LeBron and
he's
the
a
Freak.
beast.
And if you got Embiid on the block,
Yeah,
it's hard for him to kind of navigate
right.
to do what he does best. So I think the two are kind of still trying
Yeah,
to find out how to be successful playing with each other because their games kind of collide.
agreed. So you said the Clippers and the Lakers. I have the same three as you. The Lake Show. They've looked great to me, except they had a little bumpy road. They lost four straight. Defensively, when they're locked in with that length and that rim protection, they're tough to beat. If they can combine that with guarding the three, I think they're gonna also be a very tough out in the playoffs. The only question for me with them right now, the elephant in the room with them is can LeBron start making free throws at a higher clip? Right now, Bronny is 67.9% as of today. And I feel like, I don't know if there's a bigger Bron fan on earth than me. I watched every game of this man
It might be one,
since
maybe one.
maybe, you know what I'm
Named
saying?
Brandon Curry.
Yeah, yeah, BC, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? But if he could start making free throws at a higher clip, because it's gonna be important in the playoffs. Because I also think it affects his late game um, decision making, whether attacking. I think that's his biggest strength is attacking, and obviously his IQ is, he's a basketball genius. But him and AD, I do think they need a little more shooting. I'm not sure if Kuzma will be there past the trade deadline, but that remains to be seen. But I think you could get like a couple more, just 3 and D guys is really kind of what they need to go with that rim protection and Bron. And I'm, it's hard to bet against
I'm
LeBron
saying
and
Kuzma a three guy. Ain't
He's not shooting it at the Kuzma. Yes, he can shoot the three, but Kuzma is more of a scorer
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean?
Yeah,
Everybody's talking about he's gonna be the third, um, third wheel, third guy on this team, which is really valuable when you're trying to win an NBA championship. But I'm not sure if he's really accepting his role. You know, going from the last couple years where he was, just going out there and just going. You know what I mean?
I
Like
mean, but is it yeah, role change?
exactly.
You
So
know,
I'm
so
not sure. If he's not like you said, in the words of Teddy Gibson, if you don't want to be a star in your role, you know what I mean, to help the team. I feel like sometimes, and I could, I'm not obviously not in their practices and their film sessions and around the team, but I'm not sure if he's embracing that. And it's been tough for him. He's had an up and down year. He's also been dealing with the injury, so you can't discount that. But all in all, to me, the Lake Show, they have as good a chance as anybody.
I agree, 100%. Everything you said. But that West is tough.
It is
The
tough,
West is tough.
very tough.
And even though you choose the Clippers and the Lakers to come out of there, you still got Houston. So it ain't gonna be easy for it ain't gonna be easy for neither for them to come out of that West. It's gonna be a tough road.
Which leads me to the Clippers. Obviously, I think they're the most complete team. It's just hard to see because they've had so many guys missing time. Like you mentioned with the Bucks, they had pretty much everybody from their team last year. Haven't had very many injuries. The chemistry's already there. From day one, they've been pretty consistent, right? So, I think you see what you're gonna get with them. But the Clippers, though, when they made the moves in the summer, I know we called each other like, whoa, like Kawhi, Paul George, coming to a 48 win team from last year with Pat Beverly and Lou Williams, who I love Lou Williams game, and God, I'm having a brain fart now.
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal. He cold. He 19 off the bench, Teddy. He averaged like 19 a game off the bench, like
They got the best bench.
limited.
They got the best bench in the league.
Yeah, they got. I love the
Bit, bit.
addition of Mo Harkless. I think he's going to be an important piece. Guy that can guard multiple positions, hit the occasional open three, great cutter, athletic. Um, and they've hit a rough patch after that Christmas Day win, but to me that's the most complete team. I don't know, like I feel like they have shooting. I feel like they've got defensively, perimeter defense. I'm not sure there's
I
been a
think that
better team ever. You talking
I
about
think they one of the most amazing teams assembled
right? I
in
said the same.
history.
Yeah, I agree.
Like
Like
they
it's
got star players. They got not only do they got star players, they got role players who are
facts
star players.
that are stars in their roles.
Like and that's hard to find. Like you have players literally coming off the bench who have no problem coming in and taking over a game. Like
Right.
that's the difference to me. Like to me that's the little separation between them and the Lakers.
Hmm.
Like when LeBron is out the game and I'm not saying AD can't carry the load because he's proven and he's done it,
Right.
but he hasn't.
Not
He's
in the
never been.
playoffs
Yeah,
though.
that's what I was about
He
to say.
hasn't had a
He
long
don't have
playoff
the
run.
experience
Right.
in those situations
Right.
that like he hasn't had that valuable experience to where we can say like what he's going to do
Right.
in a tight situation.
I
If
agree.
you know, see like if LeBron is down. Well,
Right.
on the other hand, you got guys like you got Kawhi and you have Paul George who both done very well in the playoffs. I mean Paul George hadn't been to the finals, but he's played in big games to
For
where
sure. I
he
mean,
has that
they've
experience.
had some long runs. Eastern Conference Finals when he was with the Pacers against LeBron. Took him what 6, 7 games a couple times I think. And when Frank Vogel was there, so he's battle tested.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an interesting playoff run. I can't wait to see it. I will be tuned in, ladies and gentlemen. So on to our next topic before we wrap this pilot up. Our MVP candidates. We got our top four. We discussed it. I think they're the same.
We got the same.
I think they're probably a lot of people the same. And this is in no particular order. Obviously, LeBron James, um, Giannis, Greek Freak, unbelievable. Luka Doncic, we're gonna get to him in a second, and James Harden. Um, I'm gonna run through their numbers real quick, starting with LeBron. Uh, 25.1 points, 7.7 rebounds, 11 assists, league leader, which is amazing. Um, Field goal percentage 48.7, it's right around his career average. Uh, 3-point field goal percentage 34.3. Um, we mentioned the free throw percentage that could be the Achilles heel this year. Effective field goal percentage 54 and a PER of 26.2, which is below his career average of 27.6. But that just goes to show you how amazing this dude has been for so long. Year 17, it's pretty amazing what he's doing. The shift to point guard, and I mentioned leading the league in assists. And I don't know what you think. I think he's playing defense again this year, at least more so than the last couple. He's not really saving himself as much.
Yeah, he's putting forth more effort.
Exactly, but he didn't go to the finals this last year. He had a lot of time off, so that makes sense. And the Lakers have the best record in the West. They do.
I mean that's I mean with his numbers alone, that put him at the top. But I think the fact that they got the best record, in my mind, if we had an order, he would be my number one.
Yeah,
Even over G, I would even choose him over the Greek. I would choose him over the Greek because of that. Because they have that record. Like
In
Greek
the
Freak
West.
them, they do they got the best record in the
League by a couple games. Man.
Maybe
like
I might need to rethink that.
Yeah, I mean it's
I might
tough,
need
bro.
to rethink that.
Let's get to Giannis. Let's read his resume. We mentioned his numbers before. I'll run through them again real quick. 30.4 points per night, 13 boards, 5.6 assists on 55.6% field goal percentage, shooting the three at a 33.1% clip. Free throw percentage, which is he's down 13% in that category. He's right under 60 after shooting a career 73, right around 73. Effective field goal percentage is almost 60%, but that's because he's at the rim so much. The PER though is crazy. 33.6 is nuts. Like James Harden, I believe, I should fact check this, but I think last year before, he was at 36, which is also amazing, but that could be wrong. But anyway, 33.6 is amazing. In my opinion, been completely dominant this year. What you think?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Listen, you know what? Tell me this though, because I always think of LeBron when I think of the Greek. In this sense, LeBron going to the. I don't even think LeBron going to the line a game. I'm just guessing, but I think he can go into the line maybe like 3 times a game, maybe.
yeah, something like that. It's less than what is normal. But I will say this: the refs is not calling a lot of fouls that I think are fouls. But you're right; he ain't getting there
I
as
also
much.
think that that's due to developing the jump shot too.
That's true.
Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
but I was about to say like I really be looking at his game. I feel like he don't attack as much, but they don't call as many fouls. But he's also not headed to the basket as much as he used to. But again, then when you get older, you do start to kind of rely on your jumper a little bit more based off the time you put in and your growth far as being a jump shooter. He's developed it, so he tends to lean more toward it. But I actually think he should drive to the basket a little bit more.
And going back to Giannis, like he is a legitimate threat from three. I mean, obviously you'd rather him shooting threes than getting to the basket, but at a 33% clip, shooting like 4 or 5 or 6 attempts a game, I mean he's a threat.
Yeah.
And he's definitely a two-way guy. He's also dominant defensively. Can guard multiple positions. You can switch with him. He can guard the perimeter. He can protect the rim.
1 through 5.
Yep, which is a huge asset in basketball, as everybody knows. And like we said, far and away the best record in the league. I think they're 3-4 games ahead in that category. So I think his resume is pretty complete in that regard. Which brings us to the next guy on the list was Luka Doncic. Now, I gotta say this, and shout out to my man Drago Pasalic.
Yeah, drop.
You know what I mean? Like, he was telling us a couple years before this dude got drafted. He's like,
about the greatness.
he was like, this man, what he doing in EuroLeague, ain't nobody ever seen. I was like, yeah, whatever. He's great. I obviously heard of him, but I thought the athleticism in the league would give him problems. Nope.
I did
Nope.
too. I thought it would give him a little bit of problem, not
Ain't gave him one
nothing
problem.
crazy, but I thought he would, But to be honest, he's a little quicker than what I thought.
He's
Like from what
special,
I
man.
seen on video, he beating people off his first dribble,
Yeah.
and he deceptive with the ball
Change the
handle. Yeah,
directions. This dude is nice. Let's run down his numbers real quick. 29.1, which I think is something like a 7 or 8 point increase from his rookie season, his rookie of the year campaign. 9.6 boards, 8.9 assists, 47.2% from the field, 32.5 from three, 80.9 from the line, which is that's a great percentage for as much as he gets there. He gets there 9.2 times a game, which accounts for a lot of his scoring, similar to James Harden. Effective field goal percentage 54.8, 31.4 PER as a 20-year-old. He is on pace to have the best
you might well take
20-year-old
well,
campaign we have ever seen.
he might well take that pace off.
That's crazy, isn't it?
He's going to have
Yeah, that's right.
till
Right.
now
Right.
the best season we've
Seen as a
seen
20-year-old.
Yes, it ain't even a question. It's just
Put that in perspective. That's
it's
crazy.
just a matter. It's just a matter of him finishing out this season. But his numbers, I don't see them changing.
No.
And to make a quick point about his game and the team, I was reading a couple of days ago. Carlisle was talking about that's his coach,
Yeah.
how him and Porzingis are kind of still feeling their way out and just getting used to each other. And
Right.
and even with that being said, he's still having a crazy season. So
Yeah.
it shows that he still has growth, and the team has growth too. Because I don't even think Porzingis is playing his best basketball yet.
I will say this, by the way, their record is 22-12, fifth in the West. Dallas is a legitimate playoff team, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the how you say that, the wild prediction here. The Dallas Mavericks have an outside chance at winning the NBA championship. They're the dark horse in my opinion because I've watched Luka. I put him on my list. So there's three guys I watch every night now. It used to be two. Obviously LeBron James. The second one, people are gonna be like, "What?" Harrison Barnes.
I was just
There's a
about to
backstory.
ask-
There's a backstory to that.
No,
There's a backstory.
hold
to
on
that.
though. Are you still a Dallas fan though?
I am now. Luke, I'm watching Dallas, bro. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? I follow players, not team, you know what I'm saying? But so I watch Luca now, but
For
Harrison.
the people who
yeah.
don't know, he was a Dallas fan last year, but now
I was a
since
Harrison Barnes
Har-
fan, bro.
Okay, you're right. You move with the player that you
Yeah.
okay.
And watching Sacramento this year has been really hard. So that shows you my dedication to what. I don't know,
They've
because
been injury prone though.
They have been, but they played terrible basketball. I mean, in my opinion. But Luke Walton draws up some good stuff. But you can tell the last couple of weeks they've lost a little bit of confidence. They finally got over the hump against Memphis a couple of nights ago. Came back from 20 or 25 down in the first half. And but man, they it's hard to watch. Put it like that.
I haven't even watched the Sacramento game.
I don't
you on
blame
your
you.
own.
You're right. I blame. But
they ain't playing nobody
I
prime
feel
time.
you, bro. That's what I'm saying. So we'll get to the backstory on Harrison Barnes in another episode. But and then there's Luka Doncic now, and the one thing I really like about him is this dude is he. There's not a moment that's too big for him. He takes over games in the fourth. The last game against the Brooklyn Nets, he just and the types of shots that he's taking and making in big moments, the degree of difficulty. I mean, these step back threes off a dribble moves and stuff like that, hand in the face, 30 feet out. He gets to the rack, he's getting fouled.
Why are we in so much disbelief about Luka though?
We shouldn't be.
He been playing at the highest level in Europe since he was 15?
14, yeah, 14, 15, something like that.
And
And
for
dominating,
those
though,
who
too.
don't know, he played for about 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
before he actually finally went to the NBA. And the Euro League is a tough league.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
good
one,
basketball too.
yeah, great
You
basketball.
got to play
So
good basketball.
and if he and when he was playing on that league, he dominated in the last
Yeah,
couple of years. So
MVP.
to actually for him to go from doing what he did in Euro League to what he's doing in the NBA, it shouldn't be that big a surprise. But
You're right,
most people don't
but it
follow Euro
is.
League basketball, so they didn't really have a good idea of who Luca was. But if you follow basketball, you had an idea of his skill level, his talent.
I agree. The only thing I will say, last thing about Luca before we move on to James Harden, I do believe he is a humongous benefactor of the new freedom of movement rules because you can't be physical, you can't breathe on him. He gets the foul call, and just the level of physicality they don't allow players to have anymore. I think he's able to show, which is what that's why they put them rules in place. So it's good, but Luka's something special. Is going to be around for a long time. Hope his health stays up to par. Excited to watch him play in the future. Legitimate MVP candidate. And now to James Harden. What can we say? I'm not a big fan of the way he goes about getting does his thing, but he's one of the guys. This man's averaging 38.4 points a game, and the Rockets are on a 50-plus win pace.
Man,
That is unheard. That is, man, that's historic, Teddy.
other than Michael Jordan, I've never seen anybody who scored a ball at ease like that.
I mean, other than like Wilt, but Wilt was seven
I
feet
didn't see
tall.
Wilt.
Yeah, that's true. I
I
didn't see it,
said
but
what I
we
see.
hear about Wilt. But Wilt, come on, dude, average
Other
50.
than
But yeah,
Wilt,
yeah, but
maybe Shaq,
yeah, I I've never
Kobe.
seen anything like this either.
But even sometimes watching Kobe, because his game, he was such a big time scorer. Sometimes he takes 7, 8, 9 shots in a row, and because like you said, you can't be as physical now as you could back then when Kobe played. Like now, once he get past his man, you can't touch him because he knows how to draw those fouls, and they are fouls, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, the way he does it is it's effortless. It's man,
To go along with the 38.4 points per game, 6 rebounds, 7.6 assists, shooting 46.3 from the field. That's pretty good. 38.6 from three, and with the amount of threes he takes, that's amazing to me. Um, Free throw percentage 86.4, and he gets there a lot. I think he's number one in the league in that, if I'm not mistaken. Effective field goal percentage is 57%, and with the types of shots this man is taking, amazing. PER of 32.5. So 3 of the 4 candidates we picked are well over the 30 PER plateau. That just goes to show you the level of greatness that we're seeing from multiple guys in the league. But sticking with James, he could potentially average 40 points a game on a 50-plus win team.
that's tough
How do you not give this man the MVP if that happens?
because Giannis.
You know, I mean, how
I
do
mean,
you vote for one, bro?
if he averaged 40 and they stay above the 50 mark, then I think they'll give it to him. Anyway.
How do you not?
Because Giannis got it last year, they wouldn't mind like snatching it away from him this year.
30
Because
and
it looked like they
13.
on pace to lead the league
Oh, they're
in
getting
wins
60 plus
again.
wins. They might get
So
65, bro.
with that and his numbers,
They're 31-5 right now. The Bucks. I think they could touch 65 wins.
and then
30
you
and
think-
13 and
you
5,
think-
6 assists on 60. That's tough too, bro.
You think LeBron them gonna get 60? I don't think they're
I
gonna
don't
get
know.
60.
I think it depends on how long it takes them to lock up the number one spot because I think for them,
They gonna
home
load.
court. But they might. I think seeding matters to the Lakers. I don't think seeding matters to the Clippers. But I think the Lake Show wants home court.
Should that be?
I'm not sure. That's the thing. I think health is always the most important, and
That's
Brown
what I
is
was about
30.
to say.
Brown is 35, so we'll see how that plays out.
Problem is, without LeBron on the court, how much of a drop off do the team take? Like that was the problem last year.
Yeah, they
Like every time when LeBron's down or the team, when he needs his when he has a small injury or whatever, he needs a couple of games off. He when he takes that rest, the team takes a big dip.
yeah,
And the other teams that we're talking about, the Clippers, the
more
Bucks,
complete,
even the Rockets, now that they got Russell Westbrook,
more depth.
Harden can take time off and
Yeah,
Russell can fill them spot. He can
agree.
fill that spot.
I agree.
So
I agree. I still, yeah, I think the Lakers could definitely benefit from another playmaker, but I think their biggest pressing issue is shooting, like I said earlier.
yeah,
But back to Harden, I think people are taking for granted what exactly he's doing. Um, and, bottom line, what he's doing is absolutely special. Deserves to be in the conversation. If either one of these guys gets it, who he mentioned, you can't really say like, oh, they didn't deserve it. You know what I mean? And I think that is a testament to, like I said, um, I think we're in a golden age of I think we've experienced many golden ages of basketball, but I think this particular one with so many great players doing historic things. If you love the game like we do and love watching it, you know this is a great time for people like us. So, with that being said, man, you got anything else you want to say?
nah, it was I think we did
Good
solid.
pilot, right? It was a good pilot, man. I
But
hope our listeners, whoever listens to this, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back with another one. We're not sure when because we got a lot of stuff going on, but this is something we've been talking about for a long time, and I enjoyed it too, man. So
yeah, you guys tune in for the next one. If y'all have if y'all have something that y'all feel like we can get better at, leave a comment. We're gonna put it out. Give y'all something to hit us on to make sure we giving all the feedback we need in order to make this a good listen.
yes, sir. Teddy and JD, we out.